name is Monica Madrid, and I am with Football is Sexy, and I'm here with my squad, Shay and Sanaz. It could be Sanasti today. I don't know.
After that Chargers game.
I mean, we'll get there. If we look familiar, maybe you saw us on The Good Day LA. Right? Wasn't that fun, ladies?
That was so fun.
Our first little TV appearance. Shout out to our girl Roxia and Good Day LA. We had so much fun, and they, really talked about what we're doing. The First Woman podcast. They talked about our app. By the way, if you don't have our app, download the app. It's free. It's everything you want in football, all in one app, all at the palm of your hands, whether you're an avid fan or a rookie fan. So make sure you download that today. But yeah, I mean, Good Day LA was great.
That was awesome.
It was, we're getting some traction, and it's fun to see. It's just the beginning, girls.
Yes.
But speaking of traction, shall we let Sanaz go with the Monday night? Her team was on primetime with the New York Jets under the New York lights.
In the Meadowlands.
Right?
Ooh.
In the Meadowlands. Let me tell you, when your quarterback is 16 for 30 with 0 touchdowns and about 136 yards and you still win a game, that is called offense by defense.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
The Chargers defense showed up. Okay? And going to this game, I already had an idea. By the way, every announcer last night picked the Jets. I don't know if you guys noticed
I'm not going to lie. I actually did.
I didn't.
I did. And I regretted that clearly.
Well, the Jets, I get it. They got a great
I didn't know that.
teams.
I'm sorry. I didn't know. I thought I was literally the only one on the planet that did that.
Every announcer last night picked the Jets.
Makes me feel better. Okay.
Yeah.
So talk to me. Why did you pick the Chargers besides the fact that you're a Charger fan?
Because I know the Jets have a really good defense. They have a really good special teams. But at the beginning of the week, Mr. Wilson didn't even know who his center was going to be on that depth chart. I don't know if you guys know that. So every week, quarterbacks will get their depth chart. There was no one's name listed under the center.
Wow.
As a quarterback, if you don't even know who's snapping you the ball, I don't feel strong about you.
Yeah.
I do not.
Yeah.
I do not. And I think, I always say, you got the better Bosa brother.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I was kind of thinking that last
Right,
night. I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking that.
Well, dude, I won't lie. When the game started and he immediately got that Joey Bosa got that roughing the passer call, I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
More stupid emotional mistakes by Joey Bosa. But then you get a fumble recovery, you get a couple sacks, and you're the Chargers, I think, ended with 6 sacks last night. It worked out well. But again, that is defense by offense. Keenan Allen.
5 sacks.
Oh, 5. My God, 5. Keenan Allen, great night. He is now the second in all-time receiving yards, right behind my boy Antonio Gates.
10,000.
Okay.
Over 10,000.
Over 10,000.
So he crushed that limit. You saw him signing the ball afterwards. And Antonio Gates is in front of him, I think, with 11,800, a little over that.
Okay.
So he's got another thing to crawl up to. And I'm sure
Love
Phil
that.
Rivers was watching that and just so happy for him.
Yeah.
Because Phil
Yeah.
helped him a lot get there too, But I think it was a good show. I think our defense really showed up. I think Eckler had some good plays. Allen was again on fire last night.
Yeah.
It was nice to watch. I'm still honest. I don't think I'm very confident in this team.
I know.
But I think at this point in the season, we've kind of done that thing where the teams we thought were going to be great were great right off the jump.
Yep.
But now it's about improving
Yeah.
every week because people have figured out your game plans.
Yeah.
Did you watch the game?
And having the flexibility, I think, too, right? Because I think you can't account for certain things in the beginning of the season. Injuries, there's just so many variables. So I think now it's a great point. Now you're kind of in that boat where you're having to account for things that you didn't have to a few weeks ago. So it's just a different team.
And I will have to say, watching it last night, I was like, okay, you guys actually looked a little like we talked about last podcast.
Yeah.
I go, everybody needs a Kittle on their team, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of felt like you guys had a little bit more grit last night. I felt more energy last night than I've seen in a long time.
Was the hype there, Monica?
It was much better.
The
it was
hype was
much
there.
better. Yeah, it was there.
And we had a special teams touchdown, 87-yard return. And the Jets only have, I think, 8 offensive touchdowns this season.
Dude,
Oh, wow.
Sis, I have some stats for you.
Oh, tell them to me.
Do you want to hear
I
them?
want to hear them.
Well, first of all, the first quarter, it was just ugly. The Jets'
Yes.
first 5 drives, punt, fumble, punt.
I was like, is this how it's going to be all every
And I
quarter?
was just like, are you serious?
Yeah.
The one time I pick you to win. Because I'm thinking you're at home. By the way, I've been to that stadium. that's a whole nother story. But
Is it beautiful?
no.
No. I was like, in my head, I was like,
no, but
New
like
York.
Candlestick. Was Candlestick beautiful?
Well, yeah.
No, but it was nostalgic.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's still a vibe.
Still
It's
part
still
of-
one of those things you probably, as a fan, certain stages you want to check off your
Yeah.
list. I think that's probably one of them. But, when I was watching them play and I picked them on my pick'ems, I was like, again, will the real Slim Shady please stand up? Because what happened to the Jets,
Yeah.
like, compared to like the recent game that they had, I can't remember right now, but I mean, they looked great. The defense looked fire. There was zero energy on that sideline. And I will tell you, Aaron, your boy, we're going to talk about it.
Oh, no.
Aaron showed up, Aaron Rodgers, who is out obviously with a torn, right, ACL.
Achilles.
Yes.
Achilles.
Even worse.
But he
Achilles,
flies
sorry.
out every week. He flies out from California. He flies to wherever the game is every week
Yeah.
to support on the
support.
sidelines.
Yeah.
And he puts a headset on.
Yep. And I would love to hear what he is saying. Does he get a chance to talk, or is he just listening? I think he just gets to listen.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he gets to talk.
He got a chance to talk at the end of the game when he told a Charger player, "I'm gonna be back in a few weeks."
I know.
I don't know. Ayahuasca must be a hell of a drug,
I
right?
know.
So you're telling me you tore your Achilles,
Mhm.
literally?
How many weeks ago?
Sanaz's theory is that it's all a big lie.
I know.
They literally made a movie about a god Achilles who tore his Achilles and couldn't walk. Okay, so you want to tell me you tear your shit up,
Yep.
and you're like, "I'm gonna be back in a few weeks."
Well,
I don't need this boot.
We'll see. But even if he comes back, like, why?
I don't know.
You're 40. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, why come back to a mediocre, horrible kind of like O-line, right? I mean, the
Yeah.
O-line is not great. Why would you put yourself in jeopardy for a 5-4, 4-5? I don't know. What are the Jets right now? They're like 4-4.
Yeah. No, you're right.
4-4. I mean, it's just. But then there's that ego. But then
Yeah.
you know what? You have to appreciate his grit and wanting to be on the field.
Very Brady-ish.
I get
in
all
this,
that.
like intensity, refusing to give up, holding on
Well,
to whatever team will take him.
but this was what was interesting about the game. Here's the stats from last night. Okay. Total yards, Chargers 191, Jets 270. Passing, Chargers 107, Jets 206. Okay, the reason why we're going over this is right now the Jets look like they should win. Rushing yards, only 20 yards difference. Yards per play, 3.4 and 3.5. Neck and neck. Sacks, though, 5 to the Chargers. Jets had 8. But the fumbles, 0.
Yeah, turnovers.
Jets had 3.
0.
So there's the game.
You can't make turnovers.
Dude,
It reminds
turnovers
me
and
of
penalties.
what Kittle said the other week about the Niners about, you know, you can't win a game
Cannot.
if you're constantly facing turnovers.
No.
You just can't. It doesn't matter how great you're playing on the field.
Nope.
If you're having to reverse mistakes constantly, you can't get ahead.
No.
And
That's why, and they were 2 turnovers in the first quarter, I think. So it just shows you, like, you can do all these great things, but if you turn the ball over, you're most likely not going to win the game, right? Speaking of win the game, how about, and I'm not going to say it. Okay, I'll say it. How about those Eagles? What the hell?
Fly, Eagles fly. Huh?
wow.
Oh my God. And as a Niner fan, let's not forget that. By the way, nobody mentioned
Oh.
my kicks today.
Your whole
Golden
ensemble.
State, huh?
Yeah.
Can
your
we
whole
do a little?
ensemble.
And the
I
reason
love
why,
it.
I'm gonna
like
tell
a little
Johnny.
shout out
I'm gonna
to
tell
Steph
Johnny.
Curry and my Warriors, real quick.
I know.
I'm just saying he's killing it right now. And by the way, if you look at my little, it has 3-0 for Steph in the back of my Nike.
Oh, I didn't even notice
Oh,
that
yeah.
little touch.
I don't mess around.
Okay.
I don't mess
okay,
around.
Madrid.
Sorry, got off on the San Francisco stuff, but the reason I was thinking is because Eagles in San Francisco hopefully will be, in contention. And right now the Eagles looked great last. I mean,
Amazing.
you know what? Dallas looked great too.
They
so
did.
I mean, this
That's
was
painful to say
this
also.
game was everything I think that every fan thought it was going to be.
It was a big rivalry game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like at the beginning of the week, coaches were calling it playoff atmosphere.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I look, CD Lamb came out and said he doesn't even watch film on another team.
Oh, I
Yeah.
saw that.
Why would you say that out loud?
I mean, I have
Like,
my
why?
theories. But where's Tony Pollard been? Pollard hasn't done much. I don't know where he's been. Dak had a good game.
Dak
Not that Dak had a bad game.
No, Dak had a great game. In fact, that was the best I recall seeing Dak look in a long time.
Yes.
Yeah. But sadly, say it louder.
It wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough.
And the thing here, this is what, listen, I'm not a Dallas fan, but because the Niners and the Dallas is such a rivalry,
Yes.
you're always going to keep your eye on the opponent,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You're always going to, by the way, I have gone to the Dallas training camp with my Niner gear. It's a thing now.
Brave.
I go every year. Yeah.
Brave.
It's very brave.
How are
Trust
you
me.
received there? Is it?
A lot of people don't love it.
Okay.
And but they're
Respectful?
But they're respectful.
Okay.
And they always I haven't got booed yet, believe it or not.
Yeah, I figured some heckling was.
But there's a little heckling. I hear a lot of whispers as I walk by.
Oh, right.
Like I hear, what the fuck? Why is she wearing the Niners?
Does she know she's here?
Oh yeah. And then some, every once in a while, be like, you're in the wrong, camp.
Right,
Oh,
right.
I have a blast there. And by the way, that's really how this started when I started Football Sexy. One of the first viral videos we did was me
Yes.
going into
I've seen that on
Dallas.
YouTube.
Yeah.
I've seen. Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy. But going back to the Dallas Cowboys, here's the thing. Dak is such, the headliner, right? In the Cowboys. And he played a great game. But the difference between great quarterbacks is they find a way to win.
Yeah.
And I just keep going back to the play where the 2-point conversion. And I remember watching it, watching it, I'm going, no, because you could see he was going way too wide. And had he just, I kind of felt like that play summed up his career.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying he doesn't want to get dirty. There's been a few times when he's flipped over. That one flip.
That
one flip. That was just not one
memes,
that, it wasn't,
memes. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. But you just were out of bounds. Like
yeah.
if you would have just cut in and taken the hit
Right.
and just put your body on the line, you probably would have got the score.
He got hit 10 times. He had 5 sacks. He threw for over 370 yards.
Yeah.
That was a big missed opportunity.
3 touchdowns.
The other one was Schumacher, with that on the line. They called that one back too.
Yeah.
And like you said, the Eagles just find ways to win. Jalen Hurts, every time that he goes down and grabs that knee, everyone is like, oh my God.
Right.
We're about to lose another one.
Right.
Not this season.
But they
Not this
find a
season.
way to make it work.
Yeah.
And they are one of these teams that are progressing and they're progressing and they're progressing. And these two teams, they need to fight for home field in the playoffs.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have to do that.
Yes.
Because again, they played on grass this week.
Yes. And there is this, for our newer fans, if you haven't been watching, there's just this ongoing debate, right?
Yep.
Grass, turf. Will they eventually change all the stadiums over? The health of the athletes, the injuries that are, that succumb because of the different turf versus grass, and weather conditions, expense. There's a lot of factors that go into it. But
And the players, most of them prefer grass.
yes,
Because they feel like the turf, and I don't know if you guys have been on. I've been on. I was actually on the field at MetLife, and it braces your falls more than turf. It's like
and it grips better.
It's literally like cement. Like when you fall on turf, it's like you might as well fall on cement.
And I think when you grow up playing a sport, a lot of these guys have played since they were little kids, right? On grass. So when you go from decades of playing on this one terrain to going into a different, you're just like, your body's like, this is an adjustment that I don't know how to make every game.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah.
But going back to Dak, I'm going to give him his flowers, 374 yards.
Impressive.
0 interceptions. But you can't take 2 sacks back to back. These are the things that it's like, you're also two, what do they say? 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Like, it's just like, as a Dallas fan, I can't imagine because I've been there. When you're just like so high and then you're like so low.
Yeah.
But I don't.
kept slipping though, Mon. They can't grip that grass. They keep slipping. And I don't blame Dak for getting sacked. Where was your line? Where was your protection?
Yeah, but you have to feel. You have to feel it. That's the thing. Look at Mahomes. Very, very few times is he going to go down back to back. Like he can feel the pressure, and what do they say? I don't know, eyes in the back of your head, on the side of your head. But it just like he has no
Like a dolphin.
Yeah. No, but he has no presence sometimes in the pocket, and you're just like, oh my goodness.
Well, what did Mon say last week? She said, let's see which Dak shows up. You know, he's emotional. He's
Yeah.
an emotional
Such an
firecracker. We never know what we're going to get with
player.
him.
And here's the other thing. I was just looking at my notes because I was like, there was another play when he threw to CeeDee Lamb, and I think it's third down, like 26 yards or something. And he needed to be in the end zone, right? And then he threw it like 10 yards before the end zone.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I
That
was like,
looked
what?
Yeah.
What's happening there?
Yeah.
But these are
Freaked
the
out.
things that cost the games, and other quarterbacks don't make these costly mistakes.
Right,
You know,
right.
my boy, Micah Parsons,
Yeah.
said,
Come on, give it. Can't take it back now.
but we have more confidence now.
I love your voice. For
I
him.
love it.
I was like, okay.
dangerous.
Because I'm glad you have more confidence, because I'm not sure that the fans have more
No, we
confidence.
do not. We do
But
not.
yeah, I mean,
he's dangerous, right? Because he's.
because it's going to be dangerous. It's going to be dangerous. Okay.
I could listen to this all
Okay.
day.
By the
Oh,
way,
Lord.
it was Jason Kelsey. Let's talk about the Eagles. It was his birthday. 36 years old.
And he was a grump that game.
He was a little fired
And
up.
what was waiting for him in the locker room when he got
Monica
back?
posted it.
Did you see that?
I did.
A drug test.
In that mood?
They're
in that
like,
mood?
he's tripping. Mr. Nice Guy's tripping. Maybe he's on drugs.
Maybe we.
What happened?
It's coming down. It's coming down from last night.
What is happening? I don't know. But then I had
Poor
to go
guy.
down the rabbit hole a little bit on
Okay.
Jason, because I was like, everybody knows about Travis. They're not going to talk about Travis.
Jason.
But did you know he plays a saxophone?
Ooh, I did.
What?
Yeah. And I did not, maybe I knew this, but I forgot. He was a walk-on in Cincinnati. So he wasn't like
didn't know
college. No, he was a walk-on in Cincinnati, and then he was drafted in 2011 from Cincinnati, and he started out as a running back.
Okay.
That big boy.
I know.
Yeah. That big boy. And now they probably was like you were like, yeah, no, O-line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect
get
place
out of
for
here.
you,
sir.
sir.
What are you thinking?
So I wonder if he tested positive. I don't know. Did anyone hear?
No,
But-
I'm guessing not.
I do want to give you guys a little stats before we get on to the next game. But again, because there's a theme I'm going with. Okay. Total yards for Dallas, 406. Eagles, 292. Passing, Dallas, 333. Eagles, 183. You see what's happening here? Rushing, 73. Eagles, 109. That the yards per play were around the same, 5.8, 4.9. First downs, Dallas actually had more first downs, but they had a fumble, and Eagles didn't. Again,
There it is.
so on the
There it
stats,
is.
Dallas is winning,
Yes.
but
then-
who has the turnover and who wins the game? So I'm just saying,
Defense wins championships.
you gotta hold on to that ball, man. And yeah, well, we'll see. It's gonna be interesting, but the Eagles now are just
Well, Monica, hold on to that ball and hold on to your beer steins. Let's go to Germany.
Oh, here we go. I
Go
love
to
that.
Germany. Can we give appreciation to the German fans?
Yes.
Yes.
They turned
The
out.
biggest beers I've ever seen.
Dude.
And hung out for like 3 hours after the game because they're like, we are raging here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't get this very often.
We
We're
are not
here for the
leaving.
day.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They I love
Miami and Kansas City, baby.
I love that we're in other countries,
Yes.
but as a fan who likes to sleep in on Sundays,
Oh, okay.
sleeping in for me, by the way, is like 6 o'clock.
I know.
'Cause I get up at 4. Okay.
I'm like, you don't want to
She
watch the
does
sun.
not sleep in, just so you all know. Like literally, I'll wake up in the morning and she's like, hey, do you want to look at this? And I'm like, it is 7 a.m.
If the sun
Do
has
not text me.
risen, Monica is awake.
No,
okay?
I actually wake up in the dark. It's like
Gross.
4 o'clock. But I don't text you guys till after 5 at least. So
It's true.
I try to be
True.
Yeah.
She's very kind. She's
try to
very
be
considerate.
try to be considerate.
Oh my
Oh my God. But so I kind of like to sleep in at 6 o'clock, but nope. There's a 6:30 game and I like to be dialed in, get my little workout on. And yeah, I mean, those beers look like, they look
Impressive.
fun.
Das
I'm not
Boots.
gonna lie.
Das Boots. They
By
have
the way,
signs.
we talked about this. I only heard about the Chiefs because we were talking about who got there first.
Oh,
The Chiefs
right.
got there Friday,
Okay.
but I could
Oh.
not find anything on when Miami got there.
Oh, okay.
We'll have to have our stats for next
We'll have
season.
Diana take a look at
Yeah.
For next season of like, I'm sure they have them somewhere, but
there has to be, yeah.
that game, I mean, I lost that game because I don't know why. Do you ever like realize like what were you thinking?
Yes.
I was like, why would
I also
pick,
had my. Yes.
Why would I pick Miami?
Me too.
I mean, I picked Miami
Why?
too because Miami's been on fire.
We all did. What were we thinking?
I don't know.
But we all got
something from our stack row. What's that, Diana?
Oh,
they
thank
got
you,
it.
Diana.
Coming in with the
See,
truth.
Diana has our back. So we picked Miami because they got there one day earlier. But
Okay.
give it up, we all picked the Eagles. And that came
Yes.
That's
true.
true.
So we did know that one.
Okay.
But the Miami, so we thought that, that does play a factor. But I also, right before the game was starting, I wanted to change it in my app, our app.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, it said, sorry, game started. I'm like, God damn it. I was like,
I mean,
can I finagle this? I'm like, that would be so wrong. But I did think it for like a minute.
I'm sure you did.
But wait. Here's the thing. When the reason I wanted to change my pick was because I'm like, Kansas City's not going to lose back to back. They're just not. And on a big stage in Germany, I'm sure there's extra excitement. Like we're playing for different fans or across the world. And had I really thought it through, hey, FYI, you got to get your picks in on time or you will not be able to
mess up like me.
switch. I've tried.
Yes.
But I don't know. What do you think?
I think why I'm kind of shocked is because this was supposed to be a revenge game for Tyreek Hill. Okay, this is the team that let you go.
Yes.
He even said I have a special touchdown dance, so I have to have a touchdown.
Right.
But when you
That we still haven't seen.
we saw backflips, but he had like 3 rushing yards. He only got me 4.5 points in fantasy. He was a non-issue. You know what? Kansas City defense came out
Fuego.
and said, we are making you a non-issue, Tyreek.
Yep. Fuego.
This game will not be about you. You're not getting your flowers. And that's what they did.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the first half, it was 0-21 Kansas City. I mean,
Wasn't
and then at
good.
the second half of the game, Kansas City's defense came in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was such a weird game to watch. And I don't get it. I didn't think that it'd be that rough.
Dude, the Dolphins didn't complete never completed a third down in the first half.
Dang.
That's crazy. They had 5 punts, like 110 yards at the half. It was scoreless. They had scored nothing. And I was like, what? And I just think my poor Pick'ems, here we go again. I knew that was going to start the day off bad.
You're like,
I was
dang it.
okay, that's not good.
And Miami is 0-3 against teams that are above 500.
Right.
Oh,
That's
Which
not
means
good.
for our newer fans, so if basically they are 0-3 against good teams, right? That means they don't win against good teams, right? But against bad teams, they win all the time. It's like 6-0. By the way, I did look at a stat. Against the winning teams, they average only 17 points. And against the losing teams, they average 39 points. So will the real Slim Shady please stand up, right? So I'm going to remember this on my pick'ems.
Yes, next time.
Right? We got to do this.
Yeah. There was no Taylor Swift, which, I was a little sad. And they still won. So way to go. Way to go without the Swiftie magic. And she's on tour now in South America. And so they have a bye week, right? This is their bye week coming up, the Chiefs.
He better not go.
Oh, that's where I was
God.
going.
No. If he went to the Texans game,
You're not going to South Africa.
well, we'll
South
see.
America.
America.
Hey, boo boo, love makes you do crazy things.
We'll see where TMZ spots them this next week. Keep your eyes peeled for those photos because
Oh
I'm
my
pretty
God.
sure he's going to link up with her outside the
It'll
country.
be interesting.
You know what? I think we give credit to Kansas City's defensive coordinator, Spinello. Again, I'm sorry with your name. Snead and McDuffie.
They killed it.
crushed.
They killed it.
They just came out and crushed.
The Chiefs.
Kansas City looked at this like a playoff game.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Miami doesn't have that experience
Yeah.
just yet.
Yeah.
And Miami, here's another team that needs to win because they need home field advantage.
Uh-huh.
And their schedule coming up is rough.
You know, it's so funny because when they win, I call them 49er Junior.
Yeah.
And when they lose, I call them the Dolphins. I ain't taking credit for that.
God.
I'm not.
so
By the
Out,
way,
Dan Marino.
by
Lace
the
is
way,
out.
by the way, there's nothing like watching in Germany after the game Mahomes, who still has his haircut, by the way.
Right.
Remember on your little favorite Netflix
I know,
quarterback,
yes.
he talked about cutting his hair, changing it up. He hasn't changed it up yet. But there was nothing like it when they're interviewing Mahomes, and in the background you hear everybody's. They stay in the stands. Like the fans don't leave right away like in America. They still hang out because they're drinking still.
Yeah.
But then you hear "Sweet Caroline." Da, da, da. And hey, if you're a newer fan, there's a few songs you have to like know, right?
It's true.
Sweet
true.
Caroline.
Yeah.
By what his name's Diamond.
Well, Neil Diamond.
Neil Diamond.
Okay, my bad. I call him Diamond. Okay,
Neil Diamond.
Neil Diamond. And what's the other one? Dun, the White Stripes. Dun, dun,
Oh,
dun,
yes.
The White Stripe ones. Anyways, somehow we got off of music, but I'm just saying, I love seeing the fandom across the pond.
Yes. It is very cool.
I do. And one day I hope that
we will be there.
Football sexy crew,
Yes. Yeah.
not even hope, it will happen.
Yes,
we will be there one day. And how amazing will that be?
So cool.
Yeah. Anyway.
My passport is ready.
Okay. Mine. Do you have your passport?
I'm ready.
Okay. By the
Let's
way, we're here for it.
Yeah.
We're here for it. Anything else on that?
No,
I
I felt like the Chiefs just made Miami panic. That was like the
Right
overlying feeling, right?
Yeah.
When they would go up to the ball, there was just this panic from the Miami offense that you could just feel. And it was like, they weren't ready. They weren't ready, you know?
And I don't know if you guys heard this, but I heard that because Tyreek Hill was with the Chiefs, and the reason why I went down that rabbit hole to remind me, why did he leave? And there was like, he wasn't getting the ball. He wasn't happy with the way he was being used on the offense. He literally, because now he has a podcast, by the way.
Your favorite.
Leave my boy Tyreek alone.
Can we just play football, get the podcast off season? Anyway, so on his little new podcast, like he said something like, I didn't want to be a diva, but I didn't like the way they were using me. I wasn't being utilized the way I wanted to be utilized. And then that was also money talks. So Kansas City let him go. By the way, guess who they picked up when they let him go? McDuffie, who's showing out on defense. So, Kansas City kind of is looking good in this little diva fight. But one of the things that they were talking about is that the Dolphins didn't want to play in Kansas because they didn't want Tyreek to get booed. So they chose Germany.
Wow.
That's what? That is a rumor.
Their decision?
And I was like, wow, I'd rather lose in Kansas versus Germany. But that they didn't want him to be booed in Kansas.
It's just crazy that it was even a point of conversation.
I feel like Tyreek doesn't give a shit about that.
Well, you say that, but these guys have egos. Come on.
I know.
Come on. Anyway.
Speaking of egos.
Oh my God. Bengals, Joe Shiesty and his little curl. This little curl. Does anybody else have a curl? I cannot think of anybody else. Who has a curl? No, it's not even that. It's just he likes that little swoosh.
Like Crybaby? You
No,
remember that
it's
movie with
just
Johnny Depp?
Yes. Yes, it's exactly.
He rocks that little curl. But he can rock whatever he wants right now because Joe Shiesty looks like Joe Shiesty again.
Mm-hmm.
After his calf injury, he is back to freaking normal. And the Bills, I'm like, again, like, thank God I picked the Bengals. Thank God I picked the Bengals. But I mean, this game, the Bengals won 24-18. The return of DeMar Hamlin,
right?
But he didn't play. But he didn't play. He's inactive.
That was so
go ahead.
That was the same field a year ago where DeMar Hamlin went into cardiac arrest.
Yep.
So it was really emotional for everyone. And then, after the game, DeMar even walked over to the spot where he was at and kind of just stood there for a moment.
He almost died.
Like and
literally.
I guess he took out like a bunch of the medical staff for dinner.
Yes,
I heard that
saw
too.
that.
And I was just kind of bummed they wouldn't let him play that game. I don't know how much of that was a mental thing, but they were like, not so much.
Yeah.
One of the scariest moments in the NFL, by the way.
It seemed like it was like a legal thing. It seemed like they just didn't want to take that chance.
I mean, if you go back and watch and you just watch him fall, I mean, he just falls back.
It's one of those things, in our life where there's those moments. I'm sure for our parents, they remember when JFK was shot, and there's like certain moments, John Lennon, not that he was shot, but as an NFL fan, this was like that moment, I think. Were you watching that night?
I was watching that night. I didn't see it happen. on the field, but I just think, right after. And then just the game stopping and just all of that. It was such a, like when something happens on the field that you've never seen before, I think that's kind of what everything just is like, this is different than anything.
You'll never forget it.
And you don't know while it's happening what's happening.
Right.
You're like, he stood up, he seems fine, he fell backwards right now.
Yeah.
What is he passed out? Did he maybe have like a panic attack? You don't know. And then you're like, oh no, his heart's not beating.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I remember I was flying back from somewhere, and whenever I fly, I always give somebody like, hey, if anything goes down, make sure you post about this, because I handle the social media. And so Haley, shout out to Haley, CEO of Torch Warrior, Shark Tank winner, just saying, our girl. I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but hopefully you'll see it soon. She texted me, and so right after I got off the plane, I had a text like, oh my God, Monica, she calls me Mon. Oh my God, Mon, DeMar, cardiac arrest. Like, I was like, what? So I was like hurrying to my house. And right when I got to the house, everybody was around, and so I didn't see the actual hit, but what broke my heart is I saw the players crying.
Oh yeah. When they're on a knee and they're crying.
And when they're crying,
scary.
I was like, oh my God. And I was just like locked in, and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm sure like everybody else, just praying that this guy's going to be okay. And wow, what a comeback story though. And I always believe, I always try to find silver linings in everything, right? And I think he's going to be used for really good things, like he already has.
Yeah.
And so I'm just glad he's okay. And I remember the GoFundMe. Was it a GoFundMe somebody started? He had already started a charity for the kids in his area, but nobody really knew him at the time.
Right.
I think he had raised not a lot of money.
Right.
I think he wanted to raise 2,000. It was on his IG, and he was
Yeah.
not even close to that. I don't
No.
think. Maybe a couple hundred. I'm trying to remember, but I will tell you, after that happened, wasn't it over 2 million?
Yes.
It was like over 2 million. Everybody was like, what do we do? And
How
so
can we help
everybody
him?
went to his page, and that was just, I love when I got chills right now. I love when I see our country, our fandom, our different teams of opposite, we all come together for one cause. I just love that kind of stuff.
And the NFL has the best fans.
And he also started scholarships in the name of all the healthcare workers that were helping him. Yeah, for all of them.
I did not know that.
So cool. I mean, and then going from someone like DeMar, who I was kind of bummed out with this week was Stephon Diggs.
Uh-oh, what happened? What'd I miss?
So, he tumbled into a security guard. And I mean, he took this security guard out cold on his back. And you hear him say, get your ass up, to the security guard that he took out.
Are you serious?
How do you go from the dude that a couple weeks ago was running up to a little kid in the crowd and being so sweet to telling some security guard there, get your ass up? Not cool.
And I don't even know how you could even
you knocked him out.
Yeah, that's not a good look.
I didn't like that. I wasn't good juju.
And he just had a really great moment last week
the
with the kid.
Yeah.
See, any given Sunday.
And, yeah.
You know what? It
Which
went
one
to
of
the
the
Bengals for that one? So Juju went over to the Bengals. So
well,
keep it up, Curlicue.
Yeah. By the way, the Bengals. I just want to give them credit, man, because they started out 1-3. That means they lost. I'm sorry. 1-3, right?
1-3, yeah.
I always get confused.
Win-loss.
Win-loss drives me nuts. And they've won 4 straight.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So they look great. I'm not going to lie. I think this is going to be a team that is on the rise. And that's all about the NFL, right? Is like, when do you peak?
Yes.
Right? By the way.
Yeah. Not every team comes in hot.
By the way.
What?
Well, I don't know your favorite meme. I'm just going to bring it up now, but
save the meme.
I know. Okay, I'll save the memes. But remind me to go back to this.
Keep watching.
But anyway, listen, the Bengals look freaking fire.
Yep.
And Joe and his little curl look great.
They did.
So it's going to be interesting. But what is really interesting to me, and I'm so excited to talk to you about the
Raiders.
Yes. Oh my. Did they win the Super Bowl this Sunday?
You would have thought they
Did they win the freaking Super Bowl on week 9?
Oh, Lord.
because I think they
I
think
mean,
they won the Super
Yeah,
Bowl.
they do. Yeah.
Okay.
Their new coach came out and was saying some weird stuff. You know, like it started out normal, like I'm from Compton, Raiders in my blood. And I was like, okay. But then when you're like, I'm going to touch players, I'm going to get in there and feel them.
No,
went, what?
No, she takes it literal.
I
So
know.
nasty.
Well, you have to be careful.
So nasty.
Be careful.
Yeah. HR. In these times, in these times.
HR. You know, always HR. No, we can walk around with the sign around Sanaz. HR. But no, I'm telling you, okay, I don't even know where to be. I'm just excited for the Raider fans. And I have close friends that are diehard Raider fans that are just, again, you know,
Beside themselves.
beside
with glory.
themselves. And I love that they support them no matter what.
Yes.
Shout out to all of our Raider fans that are on our page.
Raiderettes.
We have a lot. Raiderettes. Amanda, shout out to Amanda. She's one of the diehardest like Raider fans. And I love, so funny, I always try to read all of our comments and reply and
You're
stuff.
so good.
And somebody said, I'm so excited for AP. And this is when it just started. I'm like, Adrian Peterson's going to be on and I was like, wait, I was like, oh, got it. Antonio Pierce. I'm with you, bro. It takes me a minute. I was like, and so listen, one of the first times I heard him talk, I didn't know much about him. In fact, nothing. I remembered the name. And before I even went down the rabbit hole on Antonio Pierce, I was like, that's their guy. Like I heard him talking and I'm like, that's their guy. He has the grit. He has the fight. He talks the language, the culture. He's got the fight. He's got that Al Davis thing. And before I even went down the rabbit hole, which I'll share with you guys, I was like, that's going to be their next head coach.
Okay.
I'm calling it right now. That's going to be their next head coach. But why don't we talk about the game and the fact that what happened last week? I mean, they fired their head coach.
They fired, yeah.
One visor gone.
The visor crew's down by one.
I read somewhere, and again, I'm a little sick this week. My numbers might be off, but I read it. The firings they've done this season have cost them over $186 million.
Wow.
I read $85 million just between Josh McDaniels and the general manager. 85
sure.
right there.
Right.
And then, that's probably right, because then you add Jimmy G.
Yeah.
I mean,
When you're not even looking at Brandon Hoyer. You're like, don't worry about this, Hoyer. We're bringing in this young buck with this weird Movember stash that I do not dig, by the way. And we're going to let him run this out for us. And
I mean, listen, I was actually, when I heard the firing, it all went down last week.
And we were not surprised.
We were not surprised. We called it.
We did.
We did.
Yep.
But I was actually, one of my first thought was like, oh, not that he cares, doesn't even know my name yet. But I was like, oh, Mark, I am so proud of you, my friend. Mark Davis, the owner, I am proud of you, because what he did took guts.
Yeah.
He realized he made a mistake. And what I think a lot of owners do is they stick with the mistake because they go to the check that they wrote, right? And they're like, we're stuck. You're never stuck. Kyle and John Lynch did the same thing with Trey Lance. You're not stuck. Find a way. There's always a solution. You know, I always think one of my sayings is like, we send people to the moon. There's a freaking way.
Yeah.
Like there's a freaking way, and you just have to find it. Get creative, figure it out. And I'm really proud of Mark Davis for making the change and saying, it's on me, bro.
you know what?
I made these mistakes, so let me undo this.
Let me pay the money to make it right.
Well, you know what? Mark Davis saves a lot of money on the haircut.
Yes, he does.
Because I think he's cutting his own hair. And he's like, I got a little more cash to spend. Let's spend it.
Well, whoever's sitting next to him, those ladies are
let's
really.
Let's talk about the Giants for a second here.
I'm just saying.
We got another one bites the dust here with Jones.
Yeah.
Jones, we lost another quarterback this week. ACL tear. Confirmed he's out. Tyrod Taylor, he's hurt. Here's the bad part about this. And here's my only issue with the Giants, because they were going back and forth between Jones and Barkley, okay? Who we're going to give this big contract to. They end up giving Jones this money that he wants. He has another option next year, and he's still going to get $40 million no matter what. So you put all your money into him, all your like eggs into this basket, and then Barkley you kind of playing with, and now it's like, did you make the right decision?
Yeah.
I think this year, if anything, we have learned like quarterbacks you guys are fragile souls. I don't know if you need to be giving out all this money to quarterbacks anymore.
And you need to have a strong second, third, like you need to have several, right?
Yeah.
I think we've learned having one star quarterback. That's great.
The 49ers went through 4.
Yes.
4 in one game, actually.
Take
One
note.
game.
Take
Like,
note.
oh my God. I'm like, wait, did that just happen?
Yeah, so I feel for
Yeah.
the Giants organization, and then that adds to it. Now you got to figure out what to do here. But then, like, going back to the Raiders, like, okay, they do great, right? You have a great game, good for you. Why do you have to finish it off with, again, being typical Raider behavior
Uh-oh.
in that locker room, smoking cigars?
Right. I saw that.
Which
Cigar
I don't know
smoking.
if they were all cigars,
They were
but not a
special
good look for
cigars.
Crosby.
I
Look
mean,
like special
okay.
cigars.
What do you think
to
about
me.
that?
My sober buddy. I will just say, look, here's one of the things I've learned in my journey, right? Is what you think about me is none of my business. Right? So I'm sure he doesn't care what we think, but I will tell you that when I saw that locker room and I smoke cigars, I love me some Cubans. You all know that. Those didn't look like the cigars I smoked.
Not the same ones?
No.
Oh.
But hey, whatever you do, boo-boo, you guys got the win. By the way, I've been in that locker room. I love that stadium.
Yes.
Love that stadium. And that locker room is fire. And there's a lot of space in there. Okay. A lot of space. Huge. It's huge. And it is, if you haven't gone, look, they should pay me for this.
They should.
You should send us back out there. If you haven't gone to the Raider Stadium, you definitely should not only go, but take the tour. It's very, very cool. And it is all top of the line. It's in Vegas. It's got to be sexy.
I want to see.
Right?
I'm not going to lie.
But going back to the Raiders, at the end of the day, yes, they beat the Giants of all people.
Right.
But I don't think that was a celebration.
No, me
the
either.
celebration was like, there's a new sheriff in town.
Yes.
That was the celebration.
To the season.
There is a new start.
Yes.
And, after 2 team meetings that didn't go well, apparently they did not like Josh.
Yeah.
And to be honest, if you look at the Raiders, right, that was just a bad hire. Like, he's not a fit for the Raiders organization nor the fans.
No,
I'm sorry.
no,
I don't see him. I always go back to Al Davis, man. And he doesn't have that thing, and I'm listen, I've been a fan my whole life, so I'm going to show my age, but like the Art Shells of the world, right? And it's just, he didn't fit in. And you don't bring your Patriot way to the freaking Raiders. You change for the excellent. Look at me giving all the love to the Raiders. What happened to me?
Let's stop.
That's crazy. This is weird. Let me stop.
Did you feel like they won that game, or was it just like a dead cat bounce? Like, did you feel like it just kind of was like there was some changes? I
think they showed out for what they had, right?
Yeah.
But
will they maintain it?
Well, let's just enjoy the week for the Raiders, right?
That's
how the Raiders feel.
That's how I feel.
I don't know if they're going to maintain
week.
it, but because and here's the thing, this and everybody was talking about this is like, listen, now everybody's all on Antonio Pierce, AP, right?
AP, right.
And I'm looking at him and I'm like, 2 things. One, okay, the NFL just got their coach prime.
Yeah.
This is like that guy. He's got that, right?
Oh, I like
mouth.
that.
You like
That
that?
mouth.
I like that.
Yeah.
Here's our version of Coach Prime.
Yes.
Is now going to be AP, right?
Yes.
But let's also remember that we all were excited when Jeff Saturday came in and he did the same thing with the Colts. And then I love when you say X the bed, right? So then the next game, it was like you lost like you know what I mean?
That's why.
So let's just hold on to that.
Good for the Raiders. Josh Jacobs showed up. Good for
But wait, I went down the hole with Antonio Pierce because I was like, who is this guy? I like him.
Oh, yeah, tell us.
I like him. I want to know. And
What'd
I'm
you
like,
find
well,
in
now I realize why I like him so much. He is from Long Beach, California.
He said he grew up in Compton.
He is from Long Beach. Well, he has Compton ties, right?
Okay.
He's a diehard Raider fan as a kid, so I love that. But what I love more, and he doesn't raise them to fight, but he has pit bulls. You see what's going on here?
Yeah.
And furthermore, when you tell me you have a cherry, because I want one, you have a cherry pimped out 1964 Impala. I don't know if he sold it yet or not, but he had one with a white top. I'm like, this is my dude. This is my dude. I love this guy. And don't forget, he was a Super Bowl winner. He won with the Giants. He was.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes. So he's not like some random dude.
No.
And by the way, he was coaching in Long Beach for Cal Poly. So
he sounds very Long Beach.
I remember him from
his
Cal Poly.
vibe. His
I remember
vibe
him.
Dude.
is just
he
pit
is.
bulls, pimped out cars.
and he's going to be a player's coach, man.
Yes.
So I don't see anybody.
Dan Campbell-ish in that way.
Exactly.
A player's coach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't see anybody that's going to take his job unless he literally craps out for the rest of the season.
Love that
He
for
just
them.
pulls some wins out. He's going to be named the head coach. I've called it here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right.
I want to give Melissa
Mm.
a chance right now to talk about a rookie QB
Oh boy.
who had 470 yards, 30 for 42, 5 touchdowns, and set a new rookie QB record. CJ Stroud.
Let's do it.
Welcome to the NFL.
We just introduced him as if he was going to show up right now.
swear.
We're manifesting it. We're manifesting it.
He's had 14 touchdowns this season and I think 1 or no picks. I don't know. Go ahead, girl. Talk about your boy.
Get it.
Okay, so he's from Rancho Cucamonga.
Where are you from?
Rancho Cucamonga.
Okay.
We went to the same high school, so I feel like, we're brother, sister in that way. I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of him and how he's shown up this year. It was so in the NFL draft, if you want to take it back a little bit, it was him and Bryce Young, right? They were number 1 and number 2. They were neck and neck. And CJ Stroud did so poorly on his QB test, on that QB test that they're
It's
getting.
the C2, the cognitive test.
Yes, the cognitive test. That I think that was the determining factor of what ultimately made him not go number 1 overall as in the draft. And now to see him specifically in comparison, it is mind boggling. And I am so proud of him. And it just really makes you think, like, is that test
relevant?
Is right?
It?
Is it really, if you can perform and get an 18 out of 100, but then do that on the field? Are we looking at the right analytics? Are we looking at the right numbers when we're evaluating the draft picks overall, right? Because if a test is telling us he's going to be horrible and we see him on the field the next season and he's throwing 300 plus yards and all, it's how do you make sense of that?
Because you also have different receivers.
And this is going back to the Dak thing. It's you have to have a feel for the pocket, right? You have to have a feel for the players.
Yes.
Like Tom Brady had that, right?
Yes.
And sometimes some of these quarterbacks don't have they have something you cannot freaking measure.
Yes. And it's an art. I think football is like an art like that. It's not something you can quantify in numbers on paper always. You have to it's an art, and you can either get out there and you can create a painting from something no one else can, or you can't. And he's one of those that you can drop out there.
And he's making Nico Collins look good. Schultz, who's from Dallas, he's making him look good. And what I liked about him is not only was he consistent, but he had a clutch play. 46 seconds left in that game. He's sitting on the sideline and he's like, all right, I got to get back in there. Scores that touchdown. And what was hilarious about that game was the kicker for the Texans was injured.
God.
Yes. So they had
big old running back.
He got injured.
Came out and kicked that ball.
Here's the best thing. Not the best thing, but he got injured, I think, in the second quarter.
Yeah.
So you see at halftime, this big running back, I can't even pronounce his name.
No,
I can't. I'm not going to ruin it.
I'm not even going to try it.
I know.
But his sister, by the way, plays in the WNBA.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's awesome.
Penny!
Shout out to Penny Solar.
So wait. So in halftime, they see this running back start kicking field goals. And sure enough,
He made it.
He made it. And by the way, your boy,
Yes.
CJ Stroud,
Tell me.
love him. Faith. He's a man of faith. I
Yes.
always love that.
Yes.
And this isn't his first time. So on this game, he had 470 yards, 5 touchdowns, right? So I want to go down the rabbit hole. Is this a fluke? Or
Right.
we all know he's a great quarterback.
Yeah.
Now they're calling him the best quarterback from Ohio State. When I went back down, he had 6 TDs, in multiple games. I think 3. So this is a guy who, this is not a fluke. This is who he is. This is who he's been. And I'm just happy this week. I'm just happy for everybody.
know.
Look what happens when the Niners don't play and we on a bye. I just get happy for other people.
But I think we need to remember with rookie quarterbacks, not every amazing quarterback had a great start. I get that Dak's first season was amazing, but Aaron Rodgers, not a great start.
Right.
Troy Aikman, not a great start. And they grow into it. So let's not count out the Bryce Youngs and everybody else
Very
just
fair.
yet.
For sure.
But it was a happy week. I like how you put that.
I know.
Just a happy
Well,
week.
you know what? Maybe because I wasn't stressed because my boys were off. Like everybody else, they were I think Brock Purdy was on a tractor somewhere.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Kittle,
In a
which we'll
corn
talk
maze.
about later. It was near some like river. I don't know, Montana.
Yes.
The kiddos were in Montana
Yes.
playing, solitaire. And then I was just,
They're
I'm not
happy, I'm
stressed.
happy.
That they're happy, I'm happy. We're good. But so yeah, I mean,
The Texans are 4-4 now. I'm excited to see
Yeah.
what they're going to do the rest of the season.
and you guys have my boy, D'Amico Ryans.
yes. So
I like to take credit for everything, right? I'm like, my 49er defensive coach, which we could use anyway.
I know. The
Um,
Texans, yes, looking up over there in Texas.
What about Monica? What about her other team? The Vikings.
Oh, the Vikings, dude.
What's your new QB, boo-boo?
What? Yeah.
Dub.
Okay. I did not even pick the Vikings in my own pickups.
You didn't?
Terrible fan.
Kirk Cousins was out.
Well,
I was
that's
just
smart,
like,
though.
How are they going to come? What do you do with this?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do with like we had talked about last week? What would you do? Do you play a second string? Like the trade deadline was approaching last week, right? Right before there was hours left. They picked up somebody. It was just like this scramble of what to do and how to handle this team that was kind of on the up and up, and then had a tragic,
Well, they got Dobbs on a Tuesday.
They got Dobbs on a
and
Tuesday.
Dobbs said he didn't even know where he was going. He thought he was going to go to Cleveland, I think. And he's like, I don't even know which one I'm going to. I was just told to have my bags packed.
But wait, before that, you had Jaron Hall. Like, who's Jaron Hall?
Don't know.
And Hall was supposed to be the starter.
Yes.
But he got injured in
And
that first drive.
And so I was
Exactly.
like, oh, they don't think
And
I-
Mr.
Pick'ems.
Aerospace Engineer.
Yes.
Dobbs, Mr. Aerospace
Dude.
Engineer, to go to the moon and come back. And what I liked about him is he viewed this as an opportunity.
Yep.
Yes.
He said, here this is. I have a chance to show you who I can be.
Didn't
Even
know
though the
any
poor
plays.
guy-
Doesn't know the plays. Doesn't know the players' names. He doesn't know where he is. Like you said, he just jumped off a plane. Like
You know what
let's
it
play
was
some
like?
football.
You know what it was like? It was like, I don't know, did you guys ever play football when you were younger? Like I played football, even flag football in 9th grade, but then like I would play with the guys, right? And you would clear the streets, right? There would always be a watcher, car, right? And you'd,
right.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know where you're
Car,
going.
right? And it reminded me.
Play on.
You're in the huddle, right? And you're like, okay, you go this way, make a right. I got you. You go this way, make a left. Like they literally
street ball,
were
yeah.
in his ear, and it was like a street ball game.
Yes.
Oh yeah, see, that's why we got Diana here.
But they were talking to him in his helmet. They were talking to him. I heard that this morning on the way that they were talking to him.
Yeah, I mean, he had 1 rushing touchdown, 2 passing.
'Cause he didn't know the
touchdowns.
plays.
He didn't know the plays, but he still produced, 3 touchdowns out of this. He had an okay game otherwise than that, but like, I mean, good for him, man. I mean, he showed up, didn't think he was gonna have to play. He's gonna have to play, and like, I remember hearing he had just said like, "Yeah, I'm a little bummed because I just got a bed in Minnesota and I just
Right.
ordered everything." But for the
Right.
first time ever, the Vikings are above 500.
Oh my god.
Welcome to the club.
I'm
By the way,
slow applause.
they played the Falcons, right? They beat the Falcons,
Yes.
right? Okay. So it's like I always forget the Falcons and the Cardinals. So they played the
birds.
Falcons,
The
the
bird
birds.
teams
There's
get
a
me
lot of
confused
birds
too, I know.
I was like, wait, who is even the coach for the Falcons?
man.
Like, I need to know these things. His name's Arthur Smith, and did you know who he was?
No.
Did you know who he was?
No, but I have Evans on my fantasy team, so I keep kind of an eye on the
Okay,
Falcons.
well, did you know that his dad's a billionaire, and his dad actually is Fred Smith, and he founded that little company called FedEx in 1971.
tight.
FedEx.
How about, did I get the nugget of the day?
You did.
Is that the
Yes.
nugget?
Yes,
Yeah.
blew my mind.
$6 billion, his dad.
Woo!
Yeah. So he obviously does this
Daddy,
for love.
can I get a football team? That was,
I'm just
I feel like
saying,
that's how that
right?
conversation went.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, but Dobbs, and like you mentioned it, I love that he literally wants to, I think he said something like, once my career's done, I want to go to NASA.
Good for you.
Wow. I bet he passed that CJ Stroud test.
Sure.
That's yeah.
Right?
100 of 100 A+.
I mean, I'm just saying.
It was a fun week.
It was a fun week.
I know we don't usually talk about college on here.
Yeah, but we
let's-
do need to talk about some
Let's
college.
talk about
Yeah.
USC first.
Yeah.
We need to go there.
Yeah.
It hurt my heart.
Mhm.
It hurt my
Well,
heart.
explain to
Yeah.
our,
Tell the
our
people.
fans here what happened with USC.
Tell the people.
So USC was, I would say, considered a contender, right?
100%.
100% to be in the championship, conversation.
Right.
We have the Heisman Trophy winner, Caleb Williams. But they have suffered some really, I don't know if it's shocking losses, maybe not to the other teams, but to the USC fans, it was shocking.
Right.
Yeah.
And once you start losing, you keep your chances of going to the championship dwindle like everything else, right? And they had already lost 2 games. And so this Saturday was a really big game with Washington. And if they lose this game, you pretty much
out. Yeah.
you're pretty much
done.
out. Like, oh, I mean, so many stars would have to align for you to get into the
And
championship.
after that many losses,
yeah,
that'd
after
be
that many
pretty
losses.
hard.
So
Yeah,
they
but
lost.
Caleb
And
Williams
when they
was on a high.
well, when they
He was on a high.
oh, he was
in the
doing
beginning.
great.
I mean,
Oh, he's doing
his
great.
years at USC, he's done great at USC.
He's done great.
He
But
even
he-
came out and said, any NFL team that drafts me, I'm going to put in my contract, I want a percentage of ownership of that team.
Yeah,
That's how
Yeah.
confident he felt.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
Well-
then, like you just said, it's just crumbling.
well, yes, and then it was just this moment when he lost the game, and then you see him go to the stands, and he just goes and he embraces his mom in the stands and is literally sobbing.
Brutal.
Like sobbing, where we've all been there, man, when like nothing hurts more and you just want your mom, right?
And as a mama with 2 little boys, I like just see my boys like in that moment, like coming and just being like, "Mom, like my dream," and just like,
Yeah.
ugh.
And he was like, you could see his body like crying. Like you could see his
Yes,
body
they covered
crying.
his face.
Yeah, he covered his face, but you could see him like his body was
Like
like
hyperventilating
yeah.
a little bit. Yeah.
and
yeah.
and what you know what there's a lot of amazing moments about that. One, it shows you how close he is to his mom. And I think and this is why I like what we do at Football Sexy. So a lot of the other people, other outlets showed that meme. And they anyway, but I'll
No,
just
they made
say,
fun of him. Say it.
okay, they made
They were
fun of him.
cruel.
Yeah, some of them were cruel. And what I put on ours was sometimes you just need your mom.
Yeah. He's still a
And you
college
know what?
kid, guys.
And you know what? We got so many messages from other women saying, "I love your caption.
Yeah.
I love your caption."
Yes.
And like you just said it. I could see myself, and
Yeah.
that's why we're here, right?
Yeah.
Is we to put a different spin on the world of
The
sports,
softer side.
Yes.
mainly football. You know, the
Yes.
softer side of sports. So it's because they saw it one way.
Yeah.
Like I remember one guy said, another guy crying. I was like, dude, I saw it a completely different way. I saw, wow, I love that his mom's at the game. I love that he still has a mom. I love that she could hold her son when he needed that
Yeah.
the most.
Yeah.
And it was on camera and he didn't care about that. I saw so many good things about that. And then furthermore, I will say this, it shows that as much as he's gotten accolades for himself, he really wanted to win a championship
Yeah.
with his team, with his teammates, for his fans. And I love all that about Caleb.
Yeah.
And such a cutie on
He
top
plays
of it.
with heart.
Yeah, he plays with heart. You could tell he feels bad. And like, I think people are a little harsh, man. He's still a college kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like everyone chill out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's emotional for him. Like, and to come from being so great.
Yeah.
And then everything just kind of fumbling.
And
around
I think he also was had tears because I think he's going to go in the NFL next year. You know,
But what happens to his draft position now?
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I think it was
I mean-
frustration. It was frustration what we saw. It was sadness. It was
And
a
I think
culmination of years of work, like you said.
in my mind, you know me, I'm a Scorpio. I always try to like, you know what I mean? In my mind, because I go back to when Aaron Rodgers walked after that last game in Green Bay. And when he purposely went and grabbed his buddy, I forget his name, the other player, and walked into the tunnel, I was like, that's his last game in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't normally do that. And you could feel Aaron had already made up his mind before that game. You could tell.
Yeah.
And so when I see that with Caleb, I see, Mom, I'm going to never get a championship in college because I'm leaving. That's
Yeah.
what, as a Scorpio, that's what I see.
Yeah.
I see he's kind of probably already
a goodbye.
made his, it was a goodbye.
It was a
That's
goodbye.
that's just what I see.
Yeah. What else though in college?
We got to talk about,
Since we're in college.
dude, I mean, Harbaugh.
Drama.
Man.
It's not, he always
The
seems it.
khakis are back.
The khakis are back. I always forget. Is it Jim or John? I always
They
forget.
love them khakis.
You know those brothers.
Our Michigan old 49er coach, by the way.
Yeah.
Michigan's in trouble, man, for stealing signs.
And for our newer fans, because it is a little bit weird, usually coaches would go like from college to the NFL, and that's where they stay, right? That's like the goal. And with him, he did college, NFL with the Niners, and then went back to Michigan to his alumni to kind of like finish out his career, have his golden year, like his last.
Same thing with Saban.
They paid him.
Saban tried to go to the NFL and he did not.
Not everybody
do well.
works out.
No,
right.
Not everybody works out. It's like once you're really good in the NFL, it doesn't always mean it's going to
this
translate.
Fall from grace.
Clarify to our fans what do you mean by signs? You mean like
Okay, so
not an actual sign?
So it can be confusing. You're allowed, like if I'm playing you and I can steal your sign on the sidelines. If I can,
sign meaning calling a play,
like
because in the NFL they have helmets and they have where you can hear it within your helmet, right? But in college they have to physically use signs to communicate the play, right?
Yeah, there's all communicate the play to the quarterback so that they can call plays, right? And the defense also has their own thing. But so if we're playing real time, we can try to steal each other's signs.
Yes.
What you cannot do.
Let me show you what you can.
Oh, here we go.
Show us.
Oh my God, what are we doing? You behind me scares me. Busy
Pictures of your notes.
Someone cannot be behind you with a phone taking photos of your sign calls and your sheets.
Well, there's a lot of things you can't do, and that is one of them. But one of the things that you cannot do is you cannot use electronics, and you cannot go around the world, and I say that, the United States, with 65 other different people, literally, and go into other stadiums and like this was
clothes and pretend clothes.
Right. Basically, they're saying this is a whole
scandal.
Yes. Like I was like 65 people to scout other games. That's a huge. What's
that saying? If you're not cheating, you're not trying hard enough.
Organization. What's that? It's a huge. What's the word? I can't think. There you go. It's a huge operation.
Spy organization.
Yeah. Anyway, they're definitely going to miss some games. Who knows what's going to happen to Jim? But
supposedly today.
Yeah, I think it's today.
They're deciding if he's going to be suspended indefinitely. Yeah. Right.
So whoa.
It's not good.
And then Michigan is lawyering up and saying if they're going to sue the Big Ten. Right, in response to that. So it's just messy.
Yeah, it's messy.
It's messy.
Here's a weird thing. And I mean, listen, I played sports. Did you play sports?
Yes.
Did you play any sports?
I didn't.
You didn't play? Oh, it's okay.
I was a dancer.
Hey, Steve A didn't play anything either, so you're good. You know what I mean? But like, no. So would you really want to win a game knowing you cheated? I mean, do you consider stealing like look what happened to the Astros. Like I don't know. And I get what they say. If you're not cheating, you're not trying, right? Yeah. that's just not my vibe.
No, I don't think you ever want to win by cheating. I don't think that's the way to go. But I think
but if you give me the call, I'm gonna do it.
But I think
I wanted to cheat on my pickings for like a second.
Yeah, it's true. You're picking.
But what did you say?
I think if your coach is desperate, I mean,
but they're a good team. I mean, why? What?
Well, now here's what it does. It puts everything into question. Have they always been a good team?
There you go.
So now you have this asterisk.
Well, right? And apparently this has been going on for more than this season too. So now were they a good team or a good team?
Are they going to take their little flags down from past championships because there's this ruling of I don't know. And how far back do you go? And do you investigate all the teams? Because there's lots of teams that we know kind of have dirty hands, right?
Ohio the Patriots. We go back to Deflategate. I mean, Tom Brady. You know what I mean? You go back to this is not a new thing, but it is. You can't get caught.
Yes,
you can't get caught.
How much do you investigate? And like you said, it's kind of part of the game.
I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting. By the time we probably air this, it will have already gonna be rolled. And what sucks is they are saying he didn't know about it.
Stop it right now.
Yeah, he didn't know about it. I'm like, isn't that like The Godfather? Like, they killed 5 guys, but I didn't know about it.
Yes.
But you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, this is like a Gotti, like,
yes.
No. Like, Gotti pretty much knew everybody that was getting
yes.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So, I don't know. I mean, there's so many other things. The Packers, Jordan Love, congratulations. They finally won a game.
I don't care for that game.
I mean, listen, I think moving forward.
The Rams have fallen apart.
Who is?
The Rams.
The Rams, dude. I mean,
Puka Nacua, where'd you go? Cup, where'd you go?
well, and they Stafford went out.
Yeah, his thumb.
I mean, it's crazy. By the way, I went through this. 7 rookie quarterbacks started. That's how many games?
I think we know next year, the draft, what's going to look like.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, you've got people like, I went down their app because I'm like, who are these guys?
Yeah.
CJ Stroud, we know. Jaron Hall / Joshua Dobbs. Aiden O'Connell. Clayton Tune. Who are these people? Tyson Begant, we know him. Will Levis. Bryce Young. I wouldn't know any of these guys, most of them, if they were standing next to me at Starbucks.
Oh, no. Right.
Wouldn't recognize them.
Good point.
Aiden, I mean, it's crazy right now. I mean, even the Colts, remember Anthony Richardson got hurt this year. So now Gardner Minshew's in. It's crazy. And then when you have a guy named Tommy DeVito in, that just tells you where we're at right now.
I watched Twins right after that.
Right? I'm like, Tommy
Danny
DeVito.
DeVito.
Right
I'm
now,
sure he had a
kid.
tough time growing up. But listen, I mean, this week, there's no major, games like there was
Right.
this.
She says that because the Niners didn't play this week. There's no major games this week.
This last week was major games. But I'm saying moving forward,
Oh, coming
week
up.
10,
Okay.
you don't have like an Eagle Dallas.
No, that's week 14.
I'm just
That
saying you
rematch
don't
is
have
week
like,
14, yeah.
I'm just saying
We
there's,
have the Lions and the Chargers playing each other on Sunday.
like I said, we don't have any big games. You get what I'm saying?
I know. Rude.
By the way, we'll end with this. What was your favorite meme?
Oh, I think it was Taylor Swift out with Travis Kelce, and it said Taylor taking her new album out for a walk.
good.
Oh my God, I never saw that one.
Yeah, she posted it.
Are you serious?
It was
Did
funny,
you tag
yo.
the page?
Yeah,
You always forget to tag the page.
I know. I'll make sure.
Okay.
It's still
Uh-huh.
there. I just posted
It was funny.
What was
Taylor-
yours?
It was that one. Taylor Swift walking with her new album.
No way.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious because I'm the one who says like, I don't know who dates Taylor anymore. You know what's going to happen to you.
Oh
Right.
my
Look
God.
at John Mayer. Look at Jake Gyllenhaal. Look at Noah, the One Direction dude, whatever
Yes,
his name
yes.
is. Like,
She
get
makes-
ready.
She makes no secrets about what will come of you.
And like
But
you said, he better be the one who's dumped.
It
Because
has
if
to
he
happen.
dumps her,
Done.
uh-oh.
Done. Well, my favorite meme was by Monica Madrid.
Again.
Okay.
I'm not just saying that. I did laugh.
Content
and if
creator
no
over
one
here.
thinks I'm funny, I think I'm
I
funny.
think you're funny.
Dude, but it was I put it together like so everybody in the NFC West lost and the Niners are on a bye. And when you're on a bye for our newer fans, that means you have the week off, you're not playing, right? So I had, George Kittle and Claire were, in Montana at some beautiful house and they had the water and he's like showing on his page he looked like he was like playing solitaire or something. He was playing cards and I put him that there and then I put how everybody lost, the Rams, the Seahawks and the Cardinals, and I put, what did I put? Oh, it was a good day.
Yeah, today was a good, I don't know.
Yeah. But I thought it was funny because meanwhile back at the ranch while you're playing solitaire you just went back to first place.
Yes.
Yeah,
That
we're tied with Seattle, but technically we're still back because last week after we got killed,
Yeah.
we dropped.
I know. That was
The
surprising and sad.
Seahawks. It was horrible. The Seahawks.
Crazy.
All of a sudden, I woke up and I'm like, "Wait, the Seahawks are number 1 in the NFC West."
Yeah.
There's something. Let me
Not
go back
after
to bed.
last-
Let me go back to bed. I cannot be waking up to this. And then this week, I woke up and we didn't do shit, and we're back up. So that was good.
That's true.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Seahawks. I know we're almost done here, but like bludgeoning, right? Baltimore Ravens Seahawk game.
Oh,
Bludgeon.
Yes.
That was one of the games I tried to watch while I was watching the other ones. It was just really hard. But
Another
hey,
team that's getting better and better and
the
better.
Ravens are coming on strong.
Yeah.
And they're still using Lamar as a runner.
I
They're
know.
doing everything now. They're trying a lot of different things. I'm just saying, Pete Carroll, that bubblegum sponsorship
Don't
is gonna
start.
go.
Don't. I will
Gonna
not.
go.
Oh, I'm okay with that. I just can't have Pete do his thing. But yeah, as long as Pete loses, I'm good with that.
Well, and you guys are back on top.
I know.
It's kind of surprising.
It's going to
who's-
be good.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. I'm excited. And we
Week 10,
actually
baby.
are playing the Jags. So this is going to be a good game. The Jags have been on point right now. So
Mhm.
that is the big game to me. Is there
Yes.
any particular game that
Oh,
you're...
just my Lions and against the Chargers.
Hey, right. But let's end with this. I am picturing a wager. Sure.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
I think it's something good.
Do you have one in mind? I will tell you what I have in mind.
Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
mayonnaise and
Okay.
coffee?
Next
Oh.
Thursday,
No.
if the Chargers win, you are bringing
Next Tuesday.
Starbucks.
Oh, okay. Oh, easy.
And if your boys, if your boys win, Sanaz is bringing.
I will
Starbucks.
serve it to you on camera.
Okay.
Is that fair?
That sounds
Fair.
fair to me.
Let me fist bump on it. All right. Thanks for watching or listening, and as always, keep it sexy.